Nation of Fitin10, it is day 11, and a few quick reminders here about measuring certain foods. Rice, I always want you to weigh it out. Bananas, weigh those out too. There's a lot of variation in sizes of bananas. When it comes to oranges and apples, I'm not too concerned. Yes, there will be some variation, but it's not generally a lot. So don't have to worry so much about those. But bananas and rice, make sure you weigh out. And if you really want to be very specific and you want to account for every little thing, which is really what I should be encouraging you to do, weigh out your apples and your oranges as well. But generally, there's not a huge discrepancy in apples and oranges. Okay, yesterday I talked about fat and why it's important to have dietary fat. That is why it's important for us to consume it. And of course, I'll talk about types of fats and why they're important in the future. But there's a couple more reasons why you ought to have dietary fat. And so here are a few other reasons. Yesterday I did talk about, I think I touched upon this point just at the end, that it reduces, or it reduces the rate at which sugar gets broken down and it enters into your bloodstream. And this is really important for controlling your insulin output, which is essentially the hormone that's responsible for shuttling sugar around the body. And like I mentioned yesterday, if we have a huge influx of sugar, that sugar has got to go somewhere. And so there's a few places that will go. It will go to your muscles, it will go to your liver, or it will go to body fat. So if we can lower this down, if we can balance out our meals by having things like fat and fiber and protein, because those will help to slow down the release of sugar as well, we'll have better energy. So cognitively speaking, we're going to have we're going to have less serotonin, which will keep us relaxed and sort of sleepy. So we'll have less serotonin. We'll have more even keel distribution of sugar entering the bloodstream. So this is going to keep blood sugar levels more stable. And there will be less chance overall of storing any sugar as fat. Now, the last point I mentioned might be very minimal in terms of its effect. But certainly the first two that I mentioned, there's a huge effect there. Okay. Ultimately, when it comes down to fat loss, we're talking about overall calories. Okay, we need fat for the absorption of certain vitamins, namely vitamins A, D, E, and K. And vitamin K is not a vitamin that gets talked about very much. You probably don't hear much about it, but very, very important to take, especially along with vitamin D. I do carry D3K2, so vitamin D3 and K2. Very, very important for the maintenance of your bones and other factors related to your circulatory system, etc. Another reason, dopamine and acetylcholine production. So two neurotransmitters, and specifically dopamine for feeling alert. Well, actually, acetylcholine plays that part as well. Both of these play a role in feeling alert and maintaining attention. This goes along with protein and fat. So typically when people follow a ketogenic diet, which is more, originally a ketogenic diet was more fat, but often ketogenic is termed for diets that are just low in carbs, essentially. So people are eating proteins and fats. Maybe they need more fat, less protein. Maybe they need more protein, less fat. But the point is they're getting just protein and fat, and they'll generally say, I feel like I have more energy. Even though those are not really good energy sources. Carbohydrates are better energy sources. They'll feel like they have more energy. And this is because we get the dopamine and acetylcholine production. We feel more alert. We also probably feel a little bit less lethargic due to the fact that we get less gut disruption with these types of macronutrients. And also we get less serotonin production, which causes us to be relaxed. Which is actually a good argument to have carbohydrates before you go to bed. Or at least it's one argument for that. Number 7. Well, I thought I would just mention this. This is not really a pro. Fat has a 2 to 3% thermic effect. So when you're digesting fat, you're not really putting a whole lot of energy into its digestion when we talk about, you know, the whole physiology of breaking it down and absorbing it into the body. But it does have a 2 to 3% thermic effect, far from the thermic effect of protein, which again is around that 30%. Okay, let's get to the message of the day. What is my message of the day? Today's message on this day 11 is you get back exactly what you put in. You get back exactly what you put in. Often I hear, I know so-and-so, they can eat whatever, they don't put a pound on. But really, the difference, genetically speaking, between you and somebody else is very, very minimal. Usually, weight gain comes down to what you're doing continuously over time, your patterns, your habits, and the amount of energy that you're outputting through your non-exercise activity. So are you somebody that's very chill and relaxed, or are you somebody that's a little bit nervous, and maybe when you're talking, you know, you're always flinging around your hands, maybe you're tapping your chair, maybe you're always, you know, moving about, moving your feet around. And these two types of these two types of ways of being, I guess we could call this, makes a huge difference in terms of your energy output throughout the day. But often we also see things like, what are our stress outlets? So for example, you might know that one of my stress outlets is working out, something that always makes me feel good. So, and it's such a habit of mine, and I don't feel good if I don't work out, so I'm always, you know, working out pretty much every day, or almost every day. But for some people, and I would fall in this category as well, I'm just very aware of it now, is food. And food is a huge, is a huge outlet for people. So anyways, I'm going down some rabbit holes now, and I'm jumping into another topic that is well deserved for another video unto its own. So the point is, you get back, my point was with all of this is that you get back exactly what you put in. Okay, so if motility, if movement is low in the day for you, get up and go for some walks, even if they're 10-minute walks. There's a prominent figure in the fitness industry, a guy named Stan Efferding. He always does 10-minute walks after every meal, and the guy probably eats 6 meals a day. He does a 10-minute walk after each meal. Okay, things like this can make a huge difference. You get back, so listen to this again, you get back exactly what you put in, okay? And that's not to say that you're not trying, even if you've done things in the past and it hasn't worked out. You just have to look at everything that you're doing, right? Or everything that you're not doing. Okay? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I'll talk to you all very soon. See you guys.